Welcome to Comic Cave, the podcast where art and imagination collide. I'm your host, DnDWife, and with me every episode is Couple of Nerds' very own Master Artist Entlynk.
Each week, we dive into the creative process behind incredible art, from comics and character design to the vibrant world of Extraeus and beyond.
So whether you're an artist, an art lover, or just here for the good vibes, there's a seat for you in the cave. So let's create something magical. And today I'm super excited for the next portion of our Helscarred series. We are looking at the Wrath Helscarred today. I'm so excited.
Fury's Flames. What a cool name.
I know. I really like this one. I think it's more evocative than the others. The others have things like Goroth's children or things like that. But this is really Fury taking like her children, right? She doesn't hold back. She shows who she is.
Yeah, it almost gives them like a directive or is evocative of like maybe like the folklore that other groups are saying about these people.
Absolutely, right? It definitely feeds into the stories about them. So I just really like this because the Wrath Helscarred are obviously purported to be these embodiments of anger and wrath, rage, and so their entire body would be a representation of that, even though to other, they try to be the complete opposite of what they are purported to be by the public or by their own sin. They're some of the nicest, calmest people you'll find, but oftentimes their looks belie that. They actually seem like very dangerous people to be around, and so that's why a lot of people tend to stay away from them.
Yeah, almost like maybe because of like some of the brighter colors that are available to this species, I guess, or demographic, is like almost like the poison dart frog, where if it's like bright or like crazy colors and patterns, maybe you would want to stay away.
Right, definitely. And the colors of the Wrath Helscarred lend themselves to that sort of dangerous look. So I'm really excited to get into it. When we look at the skin tones, because that's what we start with in these for these references, I wanted to give it a very fiery sort of look, but not just flame. So I went with a very dark crimson with like little hints of a lighter red in there to give it a moving sort of look. So it's not all uniform, that it's shifting. And then there's cracks of like orange, fiery orange in there. And then to contrast, there's the secondary hue, which we do as like another option. And in this case, we have this like charcoal black skin with a lighter gray above it, again, to give it that sort of like moving look, that modeled look. And I wanted to look a lot like ash in this. And then obviously the cracks above it are in a deep crimson red to complement the other colors that it comes in. So I really liked these two colors for Fury's Flames. I think they embody anger very well, and I wanted to give them the look of like moving fire almost.
Yeah, I really like what you've done with it, because it almost gives me like lava with the talk of like flames and the ash, even like it's all kind of giving like lava rock almost. So even like the contrasts I really enjoy, and you could almost even take it in the direction of like whether they're like currently cool or hot-blooded.
Oh, right,
like,
whether angry or not.
Yeah, like even like the
that.
black could be like the lava rock that has almost like cooled or like made a crust outside. That's kind of what it's reminiscent of for me.
Oh, I really like that actually. And another thing I thought of was that it would be really cool if it would denote their emotions. When, like you said, like when they're feeling angry, it just bursts. Or if they could change their skin tone based off their emotion too. Where like if they're angry, it's this fiery crimson, but when they're calm, it's this like ashen black that's, like you said, that's almost like lava rock that's cooling down.
Oh, yeah. There's so many like different ideas that are coming to mind, like even like if the extremities were cooler and like the more like core was like red, so it would like kind of like ombre out.
That would look so
That
cool.
would look really cool.
Oh, and it would be so different, right? Because normally blackened tips of basically your extremities, they're a sign of necrotizing in your flesh. So like it actually is a bad sign. But in this case, it's just kind of like a denotion of who they are.
Yeah, it would almost be like, I guess, like a mitt, I guess, because they're like, I mean, I'm not sure if they have claws or even But
I
yeah.
haven't thought of that yet. Yeah, we might give them claws. Who knows? I think they tend to have normal hands, but like we've talked about, if maybe they descend a little bit too much into their
Yeah.
nature, they might grow a little bit more fury like.
That's really cool.
Right. They might grow some claws, and I think just for the skin tones, it makes them look like you said, like the dart frog, like they're dangerous, like you shouldn't approach them, or like the black and red ringed snakes too that are poisonous. That's what this reminds me of a lot, where it's like if you touch them, bad things will happen. And I think that's what keeps people far away from the Helscarred, especially the Wrath Helscarred, because they're so worried that they'll get caught up in that rage, that anger, and get hurt by it.
Especially like we've even seen so far in our side story, my partner plays a Wrath Helscarred character named Gregor.
Yep.
Love Gregor.
So cool.
But we have seen evidence of their almost like physical like repellent, because like he himself is warm and he's always exuding that warmth from his skin because he can't help it.
Think Jacob from Twilight. Always warm. But more fire, less fur. But yeah, I like that. And so with him showing this, with Gregor showing this like propensity for them to be a little warm, to have that area of effect around them, I think it lends itself to the skin tone possibly also being able to change color based on how they're feeling, right?
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't, even if these are static skin tones, I think that we could always do things with like the cracks.
Oh,
They could be moving, they could be shifting or glowing brighter or less
like
so.
the lava flowing under almost, or like even Ooh, that's really cool.
Right?
I like that.
I think there's so many possibilities with the Fury Hellscarred. You can really go a lot of different ways as to what you want to focus on in terms of their features. And the skin tone is just the start of it. That's just the basis of what we're looking at here, because I want to look at the eyes too. I created a couple of references for them that give off this idea that they're always angry. They've got this like furrowed brow look almost all the time, or like kind of like they're just angry. So the eyes kind of smush together when you're upset, and so that's what I wanted to show here. And I gave what I do is I usually put the eyes on the skin tones, that way I can see what they look like in terms of the face. So for this one, I put a darker tone of like eyelashes and colors on the red skin tone, and then I added like more reddish eyelashes on the darker skin tone to give it that pop and that contrast. And that's not the only difference. They all share like the black sclera, which is a denotion of being hell-scarred because they're touched by hell. So it's that darkness that's always in them, right? And then I gave them red irises with like little hints of orange in there to just kind of touch on the flames. And then the pupils themselves are not static pupils. They are like these shifting flames. The first one shows like a much lower flame. It's sputtering. It's not all there. But then the second one shows you where it's really inflamed. It's a full flame, and it's almost gonna go outside of the pupil zone.
That's really cool. That's so cool to think about. It really is giving me like the ember that's always smoldering, and then like it can just as quickly light to a flame, because that's definitely what I think of when I think of like wrath, is just how quick of a turn it can take, from 0 to 100.
Angry's tough, right? Anger is tough for a lot. So like you said, it can come in a minute, whereas some of the other sins aren't as quick. Some of them are insidious, some of them take their time.
Yeah, some of them are even like brooding almost, like they're just like wait. Underlying everything. But this is almost like anything can set them off kind of thing.
And I think that gives off more of a dangerous vibe that definitely lends to
it's more
people's look of them.
Unpredictable for sure.
I think that's what puts people off more, is that they represent complete unpredictability. Flames don't really follow a path. They make their own path, and so I think that's part of what frightens people about the Hellscarred. And the eyes don't make it any better. No. when you look like you're angry all the time, you look like the Hulk all the time.
Yeah, when you're like you're holding all that tension, whatever it is, or if you've got like like RBF almost. If you're just constantly glaring and that's like your default facial expression.
I have that.
Like, yeah, I have that too. I'm always catching myself like furrowed.
I know, like smile a little bit.
Whoa, like I have to like do a whole thing to like release the tension.
Look nicer. But yeah, definitely. It's just so interesting to think about all the different nuances that could go into it. But you definitely get that vibe from them, that they're constantly upset. But they are some of the nicest, calmest people out there. They probably are, super practical about looking at situations, at least if they haven't fallen all the way down the rabbit hole of their sin. But yeah, I just really like it. And I also gave them like this sort of innocent look in the eyes with a little bit of the shine in there, the white shine, that contrasts a lot with the rage that's in those eyes, because I wanted to give them, right, they're always fighting against that notion that they're always angry. They want to stay away from that as much as possible. So it's like the innocence trying to shine through.
I like that, almost as if they have like really pretty doe eyes, but like everything else is like squinting in on them.
They're upset at the whole world.
Yeah, it's like that really cool like dichotomous offset of features.
Yeah, like Bambi after mom passes, like
Bambi's revenge.
Yeah, there you go. Like super cute, but just murder in the eyes. So I really like that these can be super evocative and that their emotions are so visible in their eyes as well. So yeah, I like that.
I love how like mood ring their features can be. Like they're very like they almost wear their heart on their sleeve as much as they're maybe like trying to control themselves. It's very apparent what they are feeling at the end of the day.
That's true. If you cool. ever, if someone ever got close enough to actually look inside into a Helscarred's eyes or a Wrath Helscarred, they would see like the flames tell you if they're upset or not. And if the flame is low, they're perfectly calm. They're good. You can tell when they're agitated. Everything flares up. Their whole body shows it. And I think that's why they fight the most against this sort of feeling, their sin. And then I also want to talk about the horns here as we move further on from the eyes. It's another great feature that I think that's an iconic part of any sort of hell-touched creature.
Yeah, these are different than the other horns that you've done so far in the series. They're more like rocky and mountainous than like, I guess, when we usually think of horns, it's like an offshoot of like an animal, like ram's horns, maybe.
Yeah, they're smoother.
But these are very like, it really fits with the lava theming, I feel like.
Yep. I wanted to give them this because the description is that they're jagged, that they're growing in all sorts of directions. And so I wanted to definitely give them that look. So I've got that like dark charcoal black underneath, and over some of the tops, you have like this flaking sort of gray charcoal about them, like the layers of ash are flaking off as they go. And I wanted them to look jagged and broken. Because that's what the description shows. It's like they're just like snapped off or just like jaggedly growing pieces, and they're growing in all sorts of directions. So they don't have uniformity to them. They run into each other. They smash into each other. I think that's part of the jaggedness, is sometimes they break each other off as they grow.
That's really cool because like a flame isn't thinking of what's in its way. The horns aren't either. It's just growing. Ooh, it almost gives me there's those boars that naturally their tusks just never stop growing, and they'll eventually grow like into the animal itself. That's kind of giving me that too, where it just doesn't care where it's growing. It's just growing.
It's just a destructive force.
Whether it's like into itself or just out like super outlandishly, where someone has to like watch where they're putting their head, I guess. Right. That's interesting to think about.
Oof, I can't imagine what horn maintenance is like with these guys. They've got to like file them down every now and then.
Especially when talking about it's an intriguing idea how you talked about how like the base is almost like the actively burning, and then the outside of like the gray is like the ash flaking off. It almost gives like like pieces of wood in a fire.
Yeah, that have already burned.
Yeah.
The aftermath. That's exactly what I wanted to go for here.
I'm really getting that, especially from like whatever texture you used over top.
Yeah.
That's really conveying that to me.
And I think as improvements to this, we can add like little burning effects to them as well. They don't have to be the charcoal black and gray that we see here. Like the edges could be burning.
That's cool. Or even like burning from within, you know?
Oh, like a glow.
Like there's like the extra level under black would be like the red or orange, yellow, wherever you end up taking your Helscarred design. There's so many offshoots you could do with this.
Oh, I love that. Oh, you know what else I was thinking? Like a blue flame Helscarred. That would be cool. And that would be an interesting glow to add to this as well. I think that would change up a lot of like what you could do with a character if you switched up the colors to it too. Like blue flame exists, right? And it's not just blue flame, there's purple flame. It just all depends on like the chemicals that are involved in the fire. So you could really go nuts.
That is really cool. And you know, shout out to Gregor again. I think that's one of my favorite parts about him is everything I think is like black and red for the most part. But his irises, I think the embers in his eyes are blue, he said.
Gotcha.
So that's super cool.
That's interesting. He's got a little bit of that blue flame.
Which I believe blue like burns hotter, right?
It's the hottest.
The spectrum of...
Well, white flame would be the hottest, but as the spectrum goes. Ooh, a white flame Helscarred would be crazy.
That's spooky.
Oh, that'd be terrifying.
Especially if you put it in the eyes, like that's spooky.
Oh, that would, I mean, imagine that would be like a nightmare coming at you. But that would be so cool to think about. And you could definitely adjust the horns to look that way. It would give it like almost like divine fire look.
Ooh, yeah. Which totally fits because especially like the base design that you have here, it's almost like a crown.
Yeah.
Like jagged and I guess like not, it's unwelcoming.
Yeah.
But a crown nonetheless.
Right. It grows in this crown-like sort of ring around the head. And unlike some of the other horns that I've drawn, which are standalone horns that grow individually out of the head, this is all a full piece. I was very inspired by mountains and how mountains grow, which is all just one formation that kind of pushes up out of the ground that gets formed through like volcanoes, geological formations. And so this is all one piece growing up and then just the different jagged edges running into each other, breaking apart, like I said. So I really wanted to give it that look of just like a singular piece versus the others that are individual pieces.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job of that because I am getting like crest, crown. Very cool.
Like dinosaur crests that go this way. It's just a crown that goes this way. Yeah, I like that. And we move to personally one of my favorite parts of this, which is the tail. I love doing some of the features in this, but the tail was my favorite part of probably this piece.
I feel like I can tell you really like amped the details here with like really cool brushes and like because I remember seeing like a sneak preview of this and it was kind of like, I know that you had like the lava texture down, but then I really like where you went with the like the embers at the tip and the base.
I didn't quite know where I wanted to go with it, and the way that the description was that the base of the tail glows and with like smoldering glowing, and so that was tough for me. I didn't quite know how to do it, so I used a preformed pen on Clip Studio. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't trying to spend too much time on these, but I think I came up with a perfectly like molten orange look for the base, and then like that fiery look at the tip as well, to give it like that spark. And then the horns growing along the side of the tail, which is in the same skin tone as like that black charcoal with red cracks in it, is these like horns of flame going down and like in like diminishing size as they go down to the tip of the tail, and they're like the little jets of flame. I imagined
they're really cool. It's almost like reptilian, how there's a lot of like reptiles that have like the two lines of scales going down and receding to the tip, which is it is really evocative of that look. I really like it.
You're right. I wanted to go for that, give it that like dinosaur sort of lizard vibe, and I did, again, used a pen for this, so I wasn't trying to make flame on my own.
It's not the pen, it's how you use it.
Here you go. It's the detail you put in it. But I really wanted it to look like flames were kind of jetting out of the tail, and it's really difficult now that I think about it to like move through a crowd with a flaming tail. I didn't think about the logistical applications of this.
I mean, even like the whole Helscarred is very like putting off heat
That's true.
and flame.
People stay naturally away from them as much as they can.
But it's fantasy. I'm sure there's a like
an explanation.
Yeah, well, because this is like hellfire, right?
True.
Would it behave differently than physical fire, I guess, or like what comes to mind is I recently watched the first season of Freerun, and they talk a lot about controlling your mana. And so maybe they're controlling the flame if it's like actually destructive or not.
Right.
I don't know.
That's a good idea. And I think you're right that, they do have to have some sort of modicum of control over their flame. I think a part of that would be like Helscarred children being taught at a very early age to control themselves, to keep their emotions intact. A lot like probably the lust children as well, because those are things that they just can't help that actually cause physical effects in the world. So that's a little difficult. Greed and avarice, or gluttony, those are like self things. But fire, it spreads. Lust is kind of a two-person or more kind of thing, and so those are all effects that occur. And so I think the lust and wrath Helscarred children specifically are taught from a very early age to like, hey, control yourself, control your emotions, because we don't want to cause people trouble.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's really interesting to think about the implications of like how these people, because of their traits, are living their lives. Because like I think the lust and the wrath, they're more like, I guess, like inciting versus insidious, like maybe greed or sloth or something more like, I guess, of like an undercurrent,
easier to fall into.
It's something a little less like flashy, I guess, or like very immediately outwardly affecting other people, like the wrath would be. Because I would imagine, going back to like the idea of whether it's like directly a mirror of their emotions, maybe they lose control in a split second over their little flames, and they're, whether it's a flick of the tail or not, like
that could burn someone.
They'll cause some damage.
Oh, I really do like that. That modicum of control, that speaks volumes to what they can do. I really like that. I love doing this Helscarred series. I think it's a great way to create references for D&D to help other players make their own characters. Like you said, Gregor is kind of inspired by these descriptions, and I hope these references kind of help kind of suss out what he thinks, the Helscarred of Wrath live like.
It was really cool having these references to kind of like, because my partner and I we had a whole conversation about like, since I'm a more like visual person, I was like, okay, well, then how are you going to translate these features to your character? Like, how would it feel personal to you?
Oh, that's a good point.
We talked a lot about like the tail and how like, whether it's like, if the base is like glowing but also radiating up their back or something, or whether it's like contained right there, almost as if it's like, they painfully grew their tail later or something. Like, that's something interesting to think.
That's awesome.
Or like, thank you. Gruesome but awesome.
Yeah,
right?
gruesome but awesome. I like that.
I think that's where we tend, or at least our group tends to like find those ideas like the greatest, where it's like, how can I further traumatize my character?
It makes for great story.
It does.
But talking about making all this artwork, I do want to talk about some of the important things to artists, and one of those, I think, is this great idea of chasing the commission work, to be able to become a working artist that can survive solely off of their work. I think the focus is too great on finding that sort of unicorn of the commission work. I hear a lot of complaints that artists can't find the commission work, that no one's buying commission work right now, and it's true. It's hard financial times out there. People aren't really investing in personal things like that, items like artwork.
Art is definitely a luxury, and I think especially for someone like myself who grew up online, kind of a little in the artist scene. I wouldn't say that I was more of a lurker. I tend to be a lurker online and not as much of a participant. But again, going into how a lot of artists are very introverted like that. And sometimes, you know, there's this maybe oversaturation of, you know, artists young and older who are, you know, putting out their fishing net for commissions just kind of like out into the ether. And it's really not that simple. You have to find your communities and then market to them, and you kind of have to do a little more talking and negotiation when it comes to that, and cementing yourself within a little community maybe. But I think that's definitely not the only avenue that you can make money with your art. Absolutely. Like, and we want to shed some light on that today.
Absolutely. And one way I wanted to talk about is there's not just that to get your art out there, right? A lot of us are really worried about putting our art out there, but I think these are a really good way to do so. Entlynk made some stickers.
Courtesy of Vogue Race. It would be nice to be able to make them in-house, but Vogue Race and other sites like them offer a ton of like products that you upload your design. They approve it. You know, there's a little back and forth, and then you know, you get your little product, and like it's a really cool way to kind of like, for an everyday artist, small artist, to kind of like outsource that manufacturing side of it, because the business side of things can be difficult.
It's so difficult and frustrating sometimes. And if you're not a person that likes to talk to people or, you know, sell yourself like that, you're not in sales for a reason, right? Then these are great ways to get your art out there and make a profit while doing so without having to work so hard for that commission, right? Or having to chase that dream as hard as it can be. So I would definitely encourage people to take up more of this. These little things not just give you this chance to make a little bit of money in the world. Like I said, they get your art out there. They give you a chance to practice your craft, and it gives you the freedom to pursue commission work if you want, but that you're not dependent on that to make your sole living.
Yeah, and like there's no like one way to go about it, because I think it's very personal to the artists themselves. And like for these, even like I don't even have like a shop set up or like a storefront website set up, but like this is all kind of like part of the snowball that I'm hoping to build. And like these I got on sale. They're glow in the dark, they're holographic, and I got maybe 150 of them for like $40-$45.
That's awesome.
It's a great deal. And like this way it has my handle on it, and I can, you know, pass them out at like SAC Anime, which we plan to do later in August. And I think it's just, that's what's kind of become really heartwarming and addicting for me is now having this like physical token of my art. I get to hand them out like at work or like to friends, and like it lights up their day, which lights up my day. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, so much power.
I don't think we should discount the power that our art can have on people. And the best way to do that, and the best way to get it out there to as many people as you can, is by doing these little things. They're so easy to hand out, and they don't just have to be stickers. They could be keychains, patches. We're going to make a comeback for those. You know, they can be other little wearables that you can spread out, put out there. I see a lot of vendors at things like SAC Anime that are putting their art out in this way, because it's not just a little easier to do it, but it also is an avenue to getting commission work. People see this, people see a sticker on somebody's mug or something, and they're like, "Ooh, who did that?" And then this whole conversation starts about the artist, who you love, what's their website, and that's how you get these commission works going.
Yeah, just kind of like getting your name out there, like have your watermark or your handle like somewhere on the sticker, passing them out. And I think that this is a great avenue for like many different types of artists, like people who make custom like D&D art, original art. I've bought so many original art ideas, like especially in forms of stickers from SAC Anime, and especially fan artists, like people who make, if you have like I think we all have a property that we don't see as much merch, or the types of merch that we would wish to see. And that's something that if you're a fan, if that's the kind of art that you feel called to make and you have fun making art of those characters, you could be filling a niche.
That's true. That's a great way to put it, right? If you know that there are shows, different genres that don't get as much love out there, make art for those, especially if they're your passions. I think that gives it a lot more meaning if you also appreciate those obscure things. that you're trying to put out there. And like you said, it fills this niche. It gives you a community to work within. And that's how you start building yourself up as an artist. And it all starts really small, you know?
And stuff like that is like, I started thinking about, what kind of art would I want to buy? Like, what kind of content would I like to see? Instead of thinking what everybody else wants, think about like what you would want. And so whether that's like little cute, like relatable characters or sayings or whatever it happens to be, like there's a place for it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think these are great ideas, and I can't wait to see how many people, you know, take them, put them into action. And I can't see what you do with these stickers too. I'm so excited.
I'm looking forward just to be like the sticker fairy this year at Sec Anime. Just
it's gonna be so
like,
much fun.
you know, all the smiles.
Sounds good.
Well, I think that's it for this episode of Comic Cave. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us and diving deep into the world of art and storytelling.
Make sure to like, review, and follow the podcast. And don't forget to join us on the Couple of Nerds Discord to see the art, share your work, and connect with other creatives. Until next time, keep drawing, keep dreaming, and keep being nerdy.